welcome to the regular meeting of the Recreation and Parks Commission. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Lubes.
I'm here.
Roll call.
Good evening,
Sorry.
Commissioners.
Thought you were doing roll call.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Commissioner Stolnak,
Present.
Commissioner Lubes,
Present.
Vice Chair Davis is not here this evening, and Chairperson Moda.
I'm here. Thank you. We have presentations tonight, and we have a lot of them. Exciting. Recreation, number one, recreation staff will recognize graduating high school seniors.
Yes. Good evening, Commissioners. I wanted to take this time to say that we have some wonderful staff here that are also graduating seniors. Thank you to Commissioner Stolnak for suggesting this idea. It actually became an exciting idea for both me and the staff to put this together. So as I call your names, this is what I would like for you to do. Come up to the mic, the podium, and say what part of our department, of course your name, what part of the department you work in, and what you're going to be doing now that you're out of high school. Is that easy enough? Okay, I'm not making you too nervous, right? And after that, you get a nice treat, I promise. Okay, so the first person, if you're not here, we'll just move on to the next person. Turner Crinklaw? No. Kyle Delmendo? Oh my goodness. Cameron Dorn-Blaser? Oh, Christina Grinke? They're just like, no. Matthew Romero? Tatum Stevens? Lexi Tekken? I got it. Okay.
I'm Lexi Takun. I am a part of the aquatics department, and I am going to a college in Massachusetts called Endicott College, and I'm going to study nursing.
Nice.
Oh, and playing volleyball.
Oh. You have the inside information, I see. Okay.
I just texted her. Where are you? She said she could make it.
Like Linnea, you're telling on her. Okay. Matthew is it Ujamov? Oh, Yemov. Sorry.
Hello, my name is Matthew. I am part of the aquatics department. I'm going to El Camino to study like marketing and political science.
Nice. Thank you. Maya Weiss? It's okay for you to clap for your friends. It's okay.
Hi, my name is Maya Weiss. I'm going to be attending the United States Naval Academy. Oh, I'm part of the aquatics department also. Thank you.
Nice. Good. Samantha Nielsen?
Hi, I'm Sam. I work in the checkout building, and in the fall I'll be attending the University of Michigan studying biology on the pre-med path.
Nice. Elijah Dunn? Oh, Jack Finders.
Hi, I'm Jack Finders.
Oh, sorry.
I work
Sorry.
at Campus El Segundo, and I will be attending the University of Oregon studying English.
Nice. And did we have someone just walk in? Oh, come on, Tatum. She's like, oh no. Your name, what part of the department you work for, and what you're going to be doing
My
now.
name's Tatum Stevens. I work in aquatics, and I'm going to UC Davis.
Okay. What are you going to study?
Oh, biochemistry.
Awesome. Thanks. And if we have some coming in, hopefully we'll have some time for us to introduce them as well. But did we forget anyone? Oh, come on up. Oh, well, my list wasn't complete.
Hi, I'm Angelo Thorpe. I mostly work summer camps, and I'll be attending Cal State Long Beach, majoring in finance.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jameson. I work aquatics and camps, and I'm going to El Camino to study psychology.
Hi, I'm Jaden. I work camps and aquatics. I'm going to El Camino to study elementary school education, become a teacher.
Nice. And those are our 2019 graduates and employees as well. Yay!
Thank you very much for coming. Number 2, Recreation Superintendent Aricia Hester will introduce Janine
Oh, I'm just.
Houchin,
Houchin.
the new Recreation Supervisor for Aquatia.
Before you leave, please get a cupcake. Thank you.
Take that. There you go.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. All right. I guess we'll back up.
That's what happens when you deal with teenagers.
Okay.
So we need to hear your name, what part of the department you work for, and what you're going to be doing now that you've graduated.
All right, so my name is Elijah Dunn. I'm working for Checkout and Teen Center both. I'm doing Cal State Dominguez Hills, and I'm going to major in Homeland Security and Cybersecurity.
Nice.
Very good. Sorry about me being out of breath. I just jogged here.
Thank you,
No
Elijah.
problem.
You can enjoy a cupcake.
Thank you. Have a beautiful evening, guys.
Thank you, you too. Okay.
Go ahead.
I feel like I'm playing different hats tonight. So this evening, though, I will let Janine do most of her introduction and her past and all of her experience. But this is Janine Houchin. She's our new aquatic supervisor. She will be overseeing all of the swim centers as well as the lifeguarding staff. Janine has a very she has a huge background in aquatics, and she's worked in aquatics and with a number of cities for a number of years. So I will let Janine go ahead and take over from here.
Hi, I'm Janine Houchin. I started in aquatics when I was about 16 as a lifeguard with the city of Santa Monica, and I worked my way up there. I was there for about 25 years. So it worked my way through college. I got my degree in Northridge. It was in graphic design, not quite the aquatics field, but I kept coming back to aquatics. Ended up being supervisor over there for a few years, for about 11 years. And then I moved over to the city of Culver City, where for the last 2 years I've been their aquatics coordinator over there, overseeing all their aquatics programs. Much like the new El Segundo Aquatic Center, the pool over there is heavily desired, and there's just not enough lanes to accommodate everybody. So it kind of seems to be the theme through aquatics, not unique to here, it's across the board. Came in on my first day and actually ran into 4 of the coaches that used to coach over in Santa Monica. So I've known many of them, seen many of them through the last 27 years now. So really excited and happy to be here, and thank you very much for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you and welcome. Okay, number 3. Scott, you're number 3. I can. Scott Morgan, General Manager of the Lakes, will provide an update on activities and events at the Lakes facility. Good evening.
Thank you, Commissioner Mota. Thank you. Appreciate you having me. I always enjoy coming to share what's going on over at the Lakes. Pretty impressive that graduates there. I thought that's really neat to see and what they're going for. I think I can hire 4 of them right now, 1 for psychology, 1 for accounting, 1 for Homeland Security, and 1 as a teacher. I can get them right to work at the Lakes. sorry. I gotta throw some. Do I qualify for a cupcake? Do I qualify?
Yeah.
All right. All right, thank you. So what's going on over at the lakes? Today is Wednesday, the third day of our first camp, our junior summer camps that we hold every summer. We've got 8 camps this summer, and as of right now, 7 of them have completely sold out. We have waiting lists on each of them, and the final one is probably going to set out here in the next day or two. So it's always interesting to see the dads come running in and try and sign their kids up and realizing that they're late to sign their kids up and how they have to go home and answer to their wife as to why they didn't sign their kid up in time. But they're on the wait list, and most of them we can get off the wait list and get them into the camps because there's always, as a parent I am, we're always signing up our kids for the summer programs early and then the shuffling throughout the summer for different programs and summer activities. But so we're excited about that. Obviously, that's with the collaboration that we've done with all the pros and Josh over these last 15 years of really creating a program that I may have shared in previous meetings where we literally need to spend no money in advertising because the word of mouth. Once we put the word out that the registration's up and running, they start coming in. So it's neat program what we've done over there. A resident father, Kevin Perkins. He runs the Gundo golf program, which you may or may not have heard of, but he and I, and also with some of the pros, have created the Gundo golf program, and this is the second season of it. In this past spring, or in the current spring program, he doubled his participation. So kudos out to Kevin Perkins, who is a resident again, and he could be watching right now, right? So shout out to you, Kevin, for what you do for the Gundo program. He has 2 kids that are in the program, and golf as well. So the off-summer programs that we do, we have June, July, and August is basically our junior summer camp programs, but from September 18 to May of 19, we had over 450 juniors come through our junior programs that are again coordinated with us and another resident, Father Josh Alpert, who I know you know is one of our veteran golf pros over at the Lakes. Other news of one of our juniors who has had tremendous success in golf is a woman by the name of Andrea Lee, currently playing on the Stanford golf team, and she came through our junior ranks and just played in the U.S. Women's Golf Open last month. And if you look her up, you'll also see that she was penalized 2 strokes for slow play, but I think it was a bad call and a bad ruling. But if you do happen to Google her, you're going to see that she was penalized 2 strokes. And then the numbers. So in April, we had a slight increase in both of our driving range and our greens fees compared to last year. And a lot of it, I think, was due to, I may have shared this last time about the Golf Now app and Groupon. We have both working right now. Groupon is something that's out there. If you're looking up right now, you would see that it's a Groupon for 2 players to play the 9 holes of golf, and then they would have a choice of a pull cart or a small bucket of balls. And we're having great success with that. What I love about those Groupons is it oftentimes, just today, in fact, we had someone come in to redeem their Groupon, and they had never been to the Lakes before. And as we know, as a operating a small business, to have a brand new person come in your doors is just gold. And then it gives me opportunity to meet someone brand new and ask what made them think of us and the Groupon, and they've always heard of us, and so that's neat to experience that. And Golf Now is a program that you can simply book tee times on your phone, or although they get a little bit of discount booking it through the online platform, we also find the same thing there, that we get a lot of people that'll decide to come to the Lakes. They've heard of it. They see now it's on the platform. They get a discount, so they'll come and play the Lakes and experience the quality greens that we have. Our main numbers were a little more flat. We're more flat on the driving range, with a slight uptick on the driver range and greens fees on the range. This coming Sunday, June 23rd, is National Junior Golf Day at the Lakes, so we're going to have a free event from 1 to 3. A lot of our pros, again, participate in that and support that, where there'll be free games and challenges on the putting green and on the driving range. And I mentioned, I think before, the Veterans Hole-in-One nonprofit that we support. They have an event coming up on June 27th, Thursday, June 27th. And that nonprofit that a friend of mine who's a PJ Pro who started that program, his nonprofit pays for their greens fees. He pays for their lunch that they have at the Lakes. In the opposing months, on the other months, we do free clinics for them. So him and I will get out there and have free clinics for the veterans that we can get to come out, usually around 30 to 40 veterans that will come out and participate in that. And now we're stepping up to, as a golf pro, your connections and network is pretty wide. So him and I realize that we've got connection to reach out to see who can we find that would then pay for the veterans luncheon. And we now have somebody that's going to step up for next month in July, where they're going to pay for the taco luncheon for next month and the veterans. So we're pretty happy about that. And in some upcoming events, is going to be Sunday, July 14th, is the 10th annual Teen Center Golf Tournament in conjunction with the Supports the Teen Center and the football program, with the help of Sean and his crew. That's again coming up on Sunday, July 14th. Open to anybody. It's a 10 a.m. shotgun, and they do a crew from the Parks and Rec does a great job at coming out. We typically have more volunteers than we know what to do with when they come out, which is always a good problem to have. And then Meredith and I are still working on confirming the second annual, if I could call it that, the cross-country meet that we had last year in September, and we're still working on the details of that, of whether we can pull it off for a second year in a row. But last year was a huge success. We had over about 1,000 runners out there, and with very minimal damage to the golf course, with the work of the Meredith, myself, and the coach on the actual course that we set up to make sure it didn't damage any tees or greens. And it was impressive what the coach was able to do with his team and the support he had of resources from the city and putting that all together was a pretty neat event, and we hope to do that again and host it on September 14th. That's my last note, and open to any questions you might have for us at the Lakes.
No, I just want to let you know that I got to partake in the taco bar a couple weeks ago at a lacrosse banquet, and it was fantastic.
Oh, yep,
so
familiar with that. The El Segundo, one of the El Segundo teams.
El Segundo High School's lacrosse banquet, so it was delicious.
Appreciate that. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Public communications related to commission business only, and that is within the subject matter under the jurisdiction of the commission. Seeing none, we'll close public communications. Move to the consent calendar. Approval of the minutes of the Recreation and Parks Commission regular meeting of May 15th, 2019.
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3-0. There's no unfinished business. New business. Consideration and possible action related to the final selection of play equipment and surface material for Washington Park. There's a couple of different recommendations. Number 1, support the staff recommended minor revisions to the design. 2, make a recommendation to proceed with playground equipment from option 1, that's the landscape structures, option 2A, Great Western, or option 2B, Great Western. 3, make a selection on playground surface material, either rubber pour-in-place or synthetic turf. Or 4, alternatively discuss and take other action related to this item. Meredith?
Yes, thank you very much. Good evening, Commission. If you recall, back in March, we had Greg Meek, who's here this evening, and Doug Grove of RHA Landscape Architects. We're here at the Commission presenting the conceptual designs for both Washington Playground and Acacia Park. And at that time, the Commission approved the concept plan, moved on to City Council in April, and they also confirmed the concept design for Washington Park. If you recall, also during that discussion, we received your feedback on a few different items, and so since that time, staff has been working with our HA to fine-tune the design, really nail down some of the cost estimates, and we have some decisions to make tonight and some discussions and some things to point out. So before you tonight are 3 different options. Basically what we did is we went back to the 2 playground manufacturer manufacturers, companies that we were working with before the concept designs, and really, again, narrowed down what that line item cost would be for the play structures, what are the main features we wanted to make sure were included, and that includes shade canopies. It included a rope type climbing structure. We also indicated to them that we wanted to stick with the nature theme and play off of that. And so what you have in front of you are 3 different designs. They're really comparing as much apples to apples as you can when you have different manufacturers. But we think that they all 3 kind of have the defining features that we were looking for. So at this point, it's really about, is there any certain play features that one has over the other that we favor, or maybe it's the aesthetic look of one versus the other, and that's what we'll talk about tonight. Behind me here on the board, you can see this is the concept design that you saw back in March, and there's been a few changes with the final design. One is the boulders, and we talked a lot about boulders, and you can see on the drawing behind me that we had boulders placed throughout the playground. Unfortunately, we're unable to put boulders throughout the play area because they do require a fall zone for each specific boulder, and there's too much overlapping from the play structures to the different boulders. So we talked about moving boulders out to the edges, but then decided that it was probably more cost effective to just remove the boulders and put that into some play value elsewhere. Shade, we talked about, we had them enhance the shade canopies on both the 2 to 5 structure and the 5 to 12 structure. Again, the rope climber, we wanted to make sure that all of the options included sort of their best medium-sized rope feature. I think that's almost probably the main difference between these 2 manufacturers. The sand area, we I know received a couple questions about. From a maintenance perspective, we are trying to eliminate the sand, and so this new design, we have eliminated that corner of sand. It adds a little bit of cost because we have to add now the surfacing to that corner, but that's something that, at least in the final design, is what we're contemplating right now, is to remove that sand area. We talked about a drinking fountain and the feasibility of that. Christopher's been working with our water division to really fine-tune what that would entail. It does require adding a meter and then trenching the water pipes from the street over to the playground area. So we're still exploring what that cost would be and whether or not to include that in this particular bid package, or if our water division may be able to handle that as a separate project internally. Landscaping as a way of cost savings, balancing out some of these other items. What we're proposing is to remove it from this project scope, but then transfer that to Christopher and his team to plant a couple new trees and add some ground cover in the surrounding areas, which they're more than capable of doing. And it's really just sort of extracting that cost from our $270,000 that's been allocated for this specific project. And then down to the playground surfacing, we are moving towards, we know that we don't have the support from residents to do an engineered wood fiber, which is basically the next thing, the next less expensive thing than sand, and sand is not considered an accessible surfacing material. Wood fiber is. Our residents really prefer the rubber pour in place, and then we have another option to consider, which is more of a synthetic playground turf. We've not installed that here in town, but I know that Dave mentioned that he had some experience with that, and Doug and Greg are seeing more of that in other cities as well, and seeing some success. So it would be a change, but definitely something worth discussing and looking into. So with that being said, I mean, I don't know if Greg, you have anything to add as far as the process goes, but we're really just looking for your feedback. If you have a particular design that you favor, or preferred element of either of the designs, and then Doug and Greg of RHA will continue with their construction documents. They've submitted 65% construction documents at this point, and so we just need to add in the specifications for the equipment itself. So I'll open it up to questions, and we're happy to work through this with you.
Go ahead.
Why are boulders not considered play elements?
They are considered play elements, and that's why they require a fall zone that prohibits them from being next to a play structure. So it can't be too close to a play structure where somebody might fall off and fall onto the boulder or that play feature.
Well, I mean, but they look like they're far enough away from any of these play structures.
Greg, do you have a comment?
I'll go ahead and speak to that. Boulders in a play area that are made to be more aesthetic and to create kind of a theme. I've worked with a lot of different play areas that had boulders, and if they're not done as part of to be a part of the playground equipment, the kids will climb on them, obviously. But if it's not intended to be part of the play equipment, then they're not considered playground equipment. If they're in the play area, in an area where it encourages the kids to get on them and play on them, then they interpret that as that it could be playground. It is playground equipment, and it would have to have a safety zone around it of surfacing. Now, we originally did the design, the boulders were outside of the fall zones of the playground equipment, so that if you fell off the equipment, you wouldn't hit the boulders. But we're rethinking that we know that the intent, we're putting them in the play area where the kids will get on them, so we're now determining that they should be treated as playground equipment. And one thing, natural boulders are different than manufactured boulders. Manufactured boulders are meant to be playground equipment. Real boulders, natural boulders, that's where there's a gray area. They don't have to be considered playground equipment. It's kind of it could be your call. We could use boulders as long as they're not within a fall zone of another play structure. We could keep some in. It would be better if we moved them to the perimeter area if you decided you wanted to keep boulders rather than keep them in the center of the play area. I don't know if that helps or I just made it muddier, but.
And are we getting rid of the sand area in our parks because people don't like sand, or the city doesn't like sand because of maintenance? You can go to the beach and get sand. Why are we eliminating sand from the parks?
Yeah, for this one in particular, it's really when the sand is immediately adjacent to the rubber surfacing or the surfacing, and it is a maintenance issue, and it also expedites the wear and tear of the material. At Holly Valley, our playground is almost complete, actually. And what we decided to do there was install an elevated sand table so that there could still be sand play, but that it's not, rubbing up against the play surfacing. So Holly, Kansas is just it's really messy. It's really causing some maintenance issues with the longevity of the rubber surfacing.
Okay.
There's mixed feelings about it out there. I think a lot of people like it. The little kids particularly like to play in it. Other families, think that it's an attraction for cats and other animals to do their business in, and it does get dirty and it takes quite a bit of maintenance.
Okay. And also, I was the one that had brought up the drinking fountain, about having the drinking fountains at the park, and if it turns out to be too costly, I'm fine with eliminating that. It's not a necessity. I was just thinking it would be a nice thing to have, but if it does turn out to be a costly item, then I'm fine with, eliminating that.
Mm-hmm.
But I did like the thing in here about the landscaping and having our city staff take care of that with the landscaping instead of the companies doing that. And I think that's all that I have on the cost factors so far, but I kind of hate eliminating the boulders. You know, I think we're always kind of bubble wrapping our kids. I like climbing trees and boulders and
Well, it sounded like
doing all of
they were
that.
open to maybe keeping them on the perimeter, so do you want to continue to
I would, I mean,
push that? I mean, I don't feel strongly one way or the other. I'd be willing to, I'm open to what, if it's important to you guys. And
If it's a safety factor, then I'm a little concerned. I'm a lot concerned if it's a safety factor.
It's not a safety factor on the perimeter.
On
though.
the perimeter, I'm okay with it if there's not a safety factor. So,
What does staff think about the perimeter?
Yeah, exactly. What is?
As far as the boulders?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like boulders too. I think it adds an element of, especially going with the nature theme. I think it just makes sense. And we can definitely explore putting them along the perimeter.
Do we need a vote on that, or just a?
You just have an opinion, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to vote on that?
No, I don't need a vote
Okay.
on that. Nope.
What about the sand? I'm with staff on the sand. I don't think it needs to be there. I mean, because we know what it attracts. Now, I'm more interested in hearing your opinion, Dave, on the pour-in material or the turf.
So I don't feel super strongly. Has the cost come to be pretty much equal, right? There's no difference in cost.
Right.
I think it doesn't have to be this big one, but we've had such great success with it. The kids like sitting on it more. It's more fun to actually sit on, and so you see kids sitting on it way more than you do on the poured. It also generally is a little bit cooler. The rubber surface gets hot on hot days, and even though it's dark green, the artificial turf just doesn't, because there's a lot of white sand in addition that helps out. So particularly if it's even cost, I think it's worth giving it a shot. I think you'll find if it's like in South Pasadena, we tried it one, and after a year we're like, everyone's using it, and then the next time, now we're just, every time we replace, we're replacing with turf instead of rubberized. So that may end up being the standard, but we got to try it at someplace first to see if everybody likes it, right? So I think we go with the artificial
What
turf.
about kind of an ongoing maintenance of
it's
vacuuming or something like that? You know, it's
comparable. You do have to put down sand every 2 years or so because the sand just starts to kind of go away and sink down deeper. So you got to do that to make sure that the blades stand up, and then you got to use a little brush machine to get out all the little sticks and things quarterly-ish. But the poured in place is supposed to be getting washed about the same. So it's I think it's comparable. At least my experience is it's been comparable. It might be a little bit more maintenance, but it also keeps cleaner. So the rubberized, if you actually go like that on any of these surfaces, your hand will be pretty black. And the turf tends to be, less dirty.
My question on the turf is it like the playing field where it has the rubber pellets inside it, or is it like at campus or at the high school football field?
It's different.
Okay,
It's a
so there's
different
no
blade.
rubber pellets.
No, there's no rubber pellets. There's a pad underneath, and I think Greg has a sample here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a sand that helps the
Sample for one of the manufacturers. This is like a pad that would go underneath that G-Max or HIC, right? Absorption. And it comes in different colors. The pad gives it a cushion. Sometimes they put the sand in to help hold it down, but you can feel it or look at it. This is one manufacturer. There's several manufacturers, but it just gives you an example.
So the bottom, like especially that thick one, wouldn't be sticking up that much. There'd be probably a 1/4 inch of sand at the bottom of that, so it wouldn't be quite that high. And then the other neat thing about these new products that's far superior from the past is that you see the light brown. It actually looks so much more like real grass than the old stuff does. It really, especially until you get right on top of it, from a distance, it could be real grass. So I mean,
We also could have the opportunity of mixing both pour in place and turf. So on this particular design, for instance, if we went with turf on the majority of it and then did that sort of river feature with the rubber, that could be a nice play on that versus otherwise you would do a different color of turf to make the river feature. So that's an option too.
It's a good aesthetic idea. I'm not sure maintenance-wise.
Yeah.
Then you're talking about doing both and double
Trying
the
to-
products and
trying to seam 'em together somehow,
Right,
but-
right. I don't know if cleanliness-wise, please.
Probably the biggest difference is the warranty. Synthetic turf has about a 10-year warranty, and it's hard to even get a 5-year warranty on pour-in-place rubber. And just from my experience, you never know how long it's going to last, and then it starts coming up, and you have patches and different things. So that's probably the upside, is that it has a longer warranty. If something goes wrong, it rips or tears or starts coming apart, the manufacturers will replace it.
And the problem that does occur often is it starts getting, even with the best curbs and the best foundations, it still ends up getting pulled away over time from the exterior, and so occasionally you gotta like stretch it back out and re-staple it into the side, re-nail it into the side. But like I said, I mean, just from looking at kids playing on it, they seem to like it more. So just for that reason alone, it seems like I could give it a shot.
And they do have a royal blue that you could use as your river.
You could.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would recommend giving it a shot.
Okay. I'd like to hear Christopher. What? You look like you want to say something, so please.
Well, I agree with trying to give it a shot. I know the rubber surface, it looks good, it feels good, but there is maintenance with that. You come in with a roll coat every few years. That's pretty expensive to put that down. And then the lifespan on it is maybe 8 years to 10 years. That's stretching it. And so I think it'd be worthwhile going with the synthetic turf.
Is this the park to give it a try on?
Sure.
I think so. Also
I agree.
that
I wanted to hear his opinion.
the rubber surface gets so hot, and this park doesn't have much shade, and it's in the blazing sun, and you get the afternoon sun there, and everybody's feet are going to be on fire on that surface. I think that probably is the park to put that in.
I agree.
Do you want a motion for that, or do you already know what everybody's going for?
It sounds like there's consensus.
Yeah.
To give it a try. I would agree. I think, we're just completing Holly Valley. The next one is Acacia, and for the most part, we're caught up on our playground replacements. So I think, we give it a shot here, and we'll see how it goes, and then that will determine which direction to go with Acacia.
Okay. We have a consensus there. Now we need the playground equipment. Is that correct? We're number 2.
Exactly. Yes.
So
If there's something on the playground equipment, either the landscape structures or either of the Great Western options, and you can kind of throw out what you like, don't like, or if there's one you just love.
You have an opinion there?
I have a small opinion. I liked option 1, just because the number of climbing ropes. I liked the rocks more than the turtle. Just it went more with the theme. Plus, animals tend to get vandalized, whereas rocks won't, or if they do, it's easier to clean them off. The only element that I liked in the other ones more that I wish option 1 had was the tube slide. Tube slides, kids love tube slides, and option 1 didn't have that. So I don't know if If option 1 had a tube slide, then I'd be all in on option 1 for sure.
I'm sure they do.
The other 2 comments I had, one is that, there's occasionally, and I don't even know what the different plastics are that make up the slides, but, there are occasionally the park that you go to, and maybe it's the humidity too, I don't know, but there's like a plastic that doesn't slide where the kid gets on it and you're like, it doesn't go, and you just wonder, well, this will never ever be used again. And so I know this is a really obvious thing to say, but whatever that plastic is, we've got to be able to slide on it, right? So are all current slides good plastic now, or am I just remembering back in the day bad slides?
I haven't heard any issues with the slides we have. I think landscape structures tends to be, and Greg can correct me if I'm wrong, a little bit higher quality than maybe some of the others. And I think that's why you see a little bit smaller structures on the landscapes, because we have the same budget on both of these.
I didn't notice that it was smaller. Is it? Is there less
I think
equipment?
it's a little bit smaller, yeah.
So it's obvious. Hopefully the slides slide. And then the other one was, at the risk of young mothers disliking the Recreation and Parks Commission, does it have to be 2 infant slides and 2 little kid slides? Is that standard? Is that? So on all 3 pictures, there's 2 toddler regular swings and then 2 infant swings.
Oh, swings.
Yeah, I'm sorry, what I said.
Slides.
I said slides. Swings. Should we consider 3 of the little kid and 1 of the infant? Only because I feel like when I've been to parks, those tend to be used much more.
Mm-hmm.
And people with little babies right now are very mad, but I don't know. In your experience, should we go 3 and 1? Is 2 and 2 the right mix in the swings?
The nice thing about swings is you meet all age groups. I mean, from the elderly get on a swing and rock, and they think it's fun, and all the way down to the infants in the bucket swing. So, and those can be changed out any time. We don't, you can buy extra belt swings, so we could go all 4 belt swings if no kids were out there, or if it was just being used by toddlers, you could go 3 and 1. But I think right now it's 2 and 2 just to see what kind of use it we get.
It's remote enough that I believe once we put these in place, they'll probably be there for the next 20 years, 30 years. That's why I want to get it right here, because no one's going to go out there and, I don't think.
Well,
we
we
don't go
changed.
to parks and look and watch people on the swings. It's unlikely it would get changed out, right?
True. Well, yeah, unless somebody called and gave us their insight.
Yeah.
Maybe. But it is easy to change out, and we do it when we have damaged ones. So.
Yeah. I think you should have at least 2 belt swings, because you usually have somebody with a friend that wants to get on and they want to swing together. If you had one,
Yeah, the infant ones cover 12 months worth of kids, and
Right.
the other swings cover 12 years worth of kids.
Yeah, you're.
So
So you guys
to me makes a little more sense, but I don't.
and we
wanna
could
get in
do it
trouble.
any way you want. So you guys decide on what your preference is.
Good point.
Any opinion? I was with number 1, that option 1. That was my choice.
Well, yours too. Yeah. You like the.
I just like the way it looked.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't really place it either, other than I like the ropes and
Yeah.
the rocks. You too, Julie?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
And it was a toad, not a turtle. Dave.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. There you go.
Sounds good. I think that's a good choice. I think, Great Western, this is game time equipment, which is what we have at Hilltop and are putting in at Holly Valley. So I think it's nice to diversify also. So I think that's a good way to go. I think people will be really happy with that. I think it's called the lunar structure, the netting.
Yeah.
It's actually red.
Yep.
If you had it in color, it's red.
Yeah, it looks cool.
So just to recap, I have option 1, and we will continue to work with RHA to try to incorporate some boulders where we can, where it's safe, and we will go with the synthetic turf option.
Okay. That.
In the sand, we're okay eliminating that at this park.
Well, I think no sand, right? That's
Sure. I think it'll come up again in when we fine tune Acacia.
okay.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll now go to reports. Reports of subcommittees. Golf course subcommittee. Was there anything?
I attended that.
Julie attended that.
And Councilman Pimentel was in Pennsylvania or something, wasn't he? He was on speaker with us. And they are still, Councilman Nickel and Pimentel, and I believe it's Center Cal, they're still hashing things out with attorneys and all of that, still trying to work things out with the whole golf course. That whole thing is still not settled. So that will be coming to council soon. Meredith can speak more to what is going on there, but things are still not completely settled. Hopefully it will be soon. But things are still being worked out. The final details are still being worked out. But the golf course is still moving forward and things are still going there. The employees still have their jobs for a while and things are still being booked. And things are going well at the golf course, you know, like we heard. And their camps and everything are going like gangbusters, which is good. But things are moving along, and they are trying to get things worked out that are going to work best for the city. So that was my first subcommittee to attend for the golf course. So that's what took place.
Okay. Did you want to add anything?
Yeah, as far as the Top Golf project, they are targeting city council in July, the second meeting in July, possibly early August. We've told the management at the lakes to anticipate staying open at least through about November right now. And we do know that Top Golf and Center Cal are working on their plans for submittal at their own risk, meaning that they are sort of moving that direction even prior to having city council, which was something that we were excited to hear, that they are trying to stick to a timeline as well. So that's where we're at.
Okay. Thank you. Youth Sports Council, there hasn't been a meeting. It's coming up August. So we're okay right now. Gateway Committee.
Gateway Committee. How come I seem to be the one attending all these committee meetings? Gateway Committee, we just recently had, it was RFQ that went out, Christopher, for call to the artist to, if interested in submitting proposals for their plans, you know, to, if they're interested in submissions for the gateway for El Segundo signage there at Imperial and Main Street. So that call has gone out for artists that are interested. Christopher has spent a lot of time putting that proposal together, and that has just gone out. And I think the deadline for that is July 31st?
Correct. And we've posted in several organizations, California Arts Council, Arts for Los Angeles, Public Art Coalition of Southern California, working right now with our communications staff at City Hall and putting together some website information, and they're working with the publication El Segundo Scene to do a feature article on it as well. And as Julie mentioned, submission deadline is July 31st, and then we'll take a look and see what we got and see if we can come up with some finalists, then do a small stipend for 3 to 5 artist teams to develop some concepts, and we'll go from there.
Okay, thank you. Department staff reports. Aracia, Recreation Superintendent.
Thank you. Well, we are very busy now. The summer months have just kicked off with a bang. We had a very successful 101 Dalmatians performance. Tickets were sold out. And so we are looking forward to our next performance, which will be the Addams Family. June 24th will be the next one. Camp started on Monday, as well as swim lessons. Our camps are full right now, and so we just have children all through the parks, and we're also working with a number of contracted camps as well. So we have our own, and then we have contracts. So it's just been a very busy season so far. What else do we have going on? Well, next month is July, is Parks Make Life Better month. She keeps correcting me. I like Parks and Rec month personally. The staff will have a lot of surprise pop-ups around the city of El Segundo just to say thank you to the residents and the employees here. So we'll be giving out little goodies and just letting everyone know how important recreation is to our community. And we also have 4th of July coming, and so hopefully we'll see you out there to enjoy all the festivities. We start at 10 in the morning, and then at 5 p.m. we have the evening festivities, so we hope to see you out there. And that's pretty much all I have for this evening.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
You have a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, I had a question. I was looking over the numbers on the aquatics.
Yes.
And looking at the aquatics in May, for the aquatic center, we had quite a high number on the non-residents at 289, and then the resident number at 128. And then you go down to the plunge, and you had the adult resident number 386. Our residents are really sticking to the plunge.
The plunge has a very large following. They love
Right.
that pool, so they are looking for it to be renovated, and they mean for us to stick to what we say.
Right.
And I think once it is, it will be a beautiful facility. It has really good bones to me. I'm looking at it, and people just love the facility. They still go there.
Now, do you find, or do you even track the age range of the plunge?
The plunge, basically, we still attract a lot of the older lap swimmers, but we get young people there as well. I think the draw to the plunge is it's still a natatorium. It's inside. So the outside, people getting used to swimming outside, it's still, you know, especially when we have overcast, they still would rather be in the inside, and I think that's the draw. But basically, we still have a lot of lap swimmers go to the plunge.
Okay. All right. And my other thing is with the Joslin Center and our meal delivery, with the number of meals that are delivered in the month at 583 meals for the month of May, with 30 seniors registered, we're going to be coming into our hot months. And I feel that it's important to keep an eye on those seniors with, especially last summer with the heat wave that we had and all of that, and a lot of these seniors staying in, and a lot of times those seniors are not checked on by people, and sometimes those meal deliveries are the only time that somebody checks on them. And I think that that person that delivers those meals is kind of a lifeline for them. And to keep an eye on that and on the heat factor. And I think, and those people staying hydrated, which is an important thing. And we have those water bottles from El Segundo. I think that we ought to provide them, each of them with a water bottle from El Segundo just as a gift, and reminding them of hydration, because I think it's very important for those seniors to stay hydrated. And just as a reminder for our delivery people to always be checking on them and reminding them of hydration, because that's something that they always forget, and they never drink enough water.
Thank you. Most definitely.
And that's all that I have.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Christopher, Parks Maintenance Superintendent.
A couple updates to my report regarding the field renovations. Brett Field will start July 1st with what we're kind of calling a major renovation. And then Richmond Field will also have a renovation and minor in scale. We haven't set the schedule yet, but that'll be sometime in the near future. And Holly Valley Park, if anybody has been by it, it's just about complete. It started about a week and a half ago, and the contractors will be pulling out the fences and doing cleanup this Friday. I don't know if anybody has seen it yet or not, but we've been getting some very favorable comments from residents, and I think the kids are very excited to be back out there. Any questions?
Yeah, the 12-year-old Little League team is currently practicing out on that field, and their tournament doesn't end. I know it's not here, but the first tournament doesn't end until like July 7th or 8th. Will they be allowed to continue practicing until the end of that first district tournament, or?
Which field's that?
The Brett Field.
We have scheduled it to be closed July 1st.
Is the Little League aware of that? They are?
They should be.
They're aware of it. Yeah, they'll be practicing at one of the school fields.
Okay. Bummer.
Okay, thank you.
Wait, I have something.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Christopher, the work on the parks, I think, is a perfect opportunity to get some social media posts up on the city website or even on Facebook. Maybe, is it Ryan that does our social media stuff?
Correct.
Just on the progress of the park on Holly Valley and Acacia coming up and Washington coming up, of, hey, everybody look at the progress of the parks. And because people are kind of talking about it, but getting some, construction photos and things like that, getting people excited about it, and then posting once they open. But I think it would be some fun things to do, putting on the Facebook posts, and then once they open, getting some excitement going, and putting it out there on Facebook, and if they have Instagram and things like that.
Absolutely.
I think they're coming along nicely, but I do hear people talking about it. Thank you.
Okay. Department Director's Report. Meredith.
Yes, thank you. So just a couple updates regarding some recent City Council activity. On June 11th, the strategic planning session was held, and just wanted to report back to the Commission that during that session, the City Council had an opportunity to prioritize certain initiatives for the coming year. And one in particular was titled Determine the Future of the Teen Center. And that received 4 out of 5 votes, and so it moved to what they're calling a Tier 1 priority. And so we will be strategizing for what exactly that means and how to move forward. So I wanted to definitely let the Commission know that the City Council has the same priorities as you have expressed here regarding the Teen Center. So we look forward to working on that in the coming year. And then also at the City Council meeting last night, if you haven't watched it, I suggest you go back and watch it. And they did make an announcement and have appointed a new city manager. His name is Scott Mitnick. He has a former experience with the City of Thousand Oaks and Sutter County up in Northern California. And he was in attendance at the meeting last night and spoke a little bit. And he is scheduled to start right away. Greg retires on June 28th is his last day here in the office, which is a Friday, and Scott starts on Monday, July 1st. So that is all I have.
Any questions? Okay, thank you. Commissioner comments. Commissioner Snoldak.
I just wanted to thank everybody for their hard work, and I wanted to thank Aricia for listening. Last month when I suggested recognizing the high school students for graduating from high school and for the work that they do for the city, and hearing for their future plans. So thank you for doing that.
Okay. Commissioner Lubes.
Congratulations to the seniors. As everyone who's worked in recreation parks knows, without the part-timers, nothing goes. So it's they're the bread and butter of the program. So we appreciate their service and hope that they stay on come back summer after summer. It's a great summer gig, even after you're gone. Come back. So congratulations to them. Thanks for bringing them.
Okay. I have nothing tonight. Public communications. Seeing none, we'll close public communications. And tonight, I'd like to adjourn the meeting in memory of my beautiful wife of 39 years who passed away on May 20th. So, meeting is adjourned.